hope you've been able to fix your machine, and you now have your materials. I'll be taking you how to fix zip on your clothes. Two methods of fixing zip. Your invisible method, and then the one that could probably close up, like the one they use for some of those skirts. And I'll also be taking you how to fix bias, how to use bias to turn on your clothes, So whatever I do on the industrial machine, be sure you can equally do it on the manual machine. So to fix my zip now, I'm just going to assume that this is a skirt or a blouse that I want to fix zip on. I have two pieces of clothes that I want to fix zip on. So I'll determine how long I want my zip to be. For skirts now, let's say I need 9 inches of zip, 9 inches zip space. So if this is 9 inches zip space, from up to here is 9 inches, and my zip allowance is 1 inch. So it means I can sew the remaining part of my skirt down using 1 inch. We have not started sewing. I just want to explain how to fix the zip. So now from here down, I would sew it on my machine so that I'll know that these remaining parts up is where I want to fix my zip. So from here down now, I'm going to close it using my machine. From there, that part down, skirt, I've closed it. So I'm assuming that this is my skirt that needs zip here and here. So the first method of fixing zip, the invisible method. Now, this is my zip, this is the front of my zip, and this is my skirt. I'll open up this side of my skirt like this. Can you see? Don't forget it's 1 inch allowance I left. So I'll place, did you see my zip? I'll place it like this on my material, leaving this little space for turning. If this is my waist, I'm leaving this little space for turning. Can you see it? I can zip it down a little so that I can have a chance to sew very well. Can you see? Then I'll start sewing close to the zip, but not on the zip. Close to the zip. When I mean close to the zip, like the side of the zip, but not on the zip. So you have to be very careful. If it will take you to be turning it small so that you will not sew on top of the zip, you can take it back from the beginning. Don't mind me. Can you see? Okay. You sew just at the side of the zip. I'm trying to do it carefully so you can see. Just at the side, not on top of the zip. Can you see it's just beside the zip? Can you see this? Just at the side of this. This is my zip, so I should still be able to. Can you see? This is my remaining part of the zip. That's the invisible method. So I'll sew it to this last part where my joining, just a little below my joining. Be careful so it does not drop. It's as if I'm putting one foot of my machine on the zip so that it will be a little bit close and it will not be too far from what I want. Okay, so I've done for this side. I'll bring it out and cut so I can zip it up. Can you see? If you sew it and then you mistakenly sew the top of the zip, you won't be able to zip it again, but you just sew close to your zip. So now can you see it's remaining this part of my zip now. It's remaining this part of my zip. So since I know that I started my zip here, for this side I'll just bring it and make sure that this place and this place, they are starting on the same level. They are starting on the same level like this. So I can just decide to pin here. I'll pin it like this. so that it can start on the same level. Can you see? So that it can start on the same level. So I'm turning. This is the second side of my material, and then I'll sew from here up like that, from here up like that. So now I've closed my zip back. I'll place one foot on my zip, but please don't sew on top of your zip, sew beside your zip. When you are just starting, there's a tendency that you might not be able to sew this close, so you could just sew this front first that is not so close, then later you start practicing how to sew it as close as possible. You don't start doing it once like that, you keep trying to be perfect. You see, I'm not even running, I'm doing it gently. If you run too much, it will just be coming down, especially on this industrial. When I get here, just so I can be able to complete my sewing, I would raise it up and zip it down. I'll zip it down so I can complete my zip. Then I'll complete my zip. Be careful of this iron so that your needle will not climb on top, and be careful of your pin so that your needle will not climb on top too. So that's the first method of fixing zip. Can you see? This is my remaining part of my skirt. Can you see? So here is my zip, here is my skirt and my zip. This is called the invisible method of fixing zip. So it's as if it's entering inside here. Can you see? So I can zip it down and zip it off, zip it up. Can you see? So now we're starting the second method of fixing zip. But before then, let me teach you how to put bias on your clothes. Fixing bias on your clothes. So I'm going to assume that this is the neck of my clothes now. If this is the neck of my clothes, I want to cut a neck from here. This is the neck of my clothes. I'm just assuming you've not gotten to all these parts. But if this is my clothes and I want to use bias to turn here so that this will not be left, since I'm not putting lining on it, and this is my bias. If you open your bias, it comes like this. Can you see? As if it has been ironed and folded in. Can you see it? So I want to put bias on this cloth. Now open up this first folding. This is the front of my clothes, and put my bias on the front part of my clothes, making sure that the clothes and the opening of the bias is on the same level. Something like this. Can you see? By the time I open up. So when I'm sewing now, I'm sewing on this line. This line that the bias has, the machine has ironed there itself. So I'm going to sew it round. I'll sew it round on that line. Even if it's the down part of your clothes you want to turn with bias, this is exactly how you will do it. It's not just neck, even if it's sleeve or anything. I'll cut it out. I'll cut the remaining, the excess away. Can you see? That's my first sewing. This is the front of my cloth. Now I'll take it like this and turn. Can you see? So I will now sew here. Is either you sew for bias, is either you sew or you hem. Is either you sew or you hem. So if I'm going to sew half of this now, and I'll hem the remaining part. I'll teach you how to hem the remaining part. So for sewing now, I'll now come and I will sew just this tip. I won't sew it anyhow. Just the tip of my bias is what I will sew. That's why I say you should first learn how to sew on a straight line. So I'm just going to sew the tip of my bias. Can you see? Can you see where I'm sewing? So you try to learn how to sew on a straight line. Can you see? Can you see that? So I'm going to stop here and use the remaining as hemming. For your hemming, you need your hand needle. This is called hand needle. You just put your thread through the hole of the hand needle and drag it to the size you can control. Then you tie the end of your hand needle. Can you see? You cut the excess away. So this is my hand needle that I'm going to use. So can you see the part that I use bias for and machine? Can you see the sewing? This is the sewing of the neck. So it means the sewing is going to show. But this other remaining part, I don't want the sewing to show, so I want to tack it with my hand needle. I want to tack it with my hand needle. So can you see what I'm doing? I'll press it down using my hand needle. I'll pick a little out of my clothes, a little out of my clothes, and a little out of my bias. Can you see this? A little from my clothes and a little out of my bias. I'll pull it. This hand needle is rusted, and drag it. I'll do it again for this beginning to tack that part. A little of my cloth and a little of my bias. I'll pull it. That's the tacking. So by the time you're opening the back, it's just going to show a little. It's just because this is a transparent material now. That's why it's showing this much. Normally it should not really show. If it's going to show, it's going to be very tiny showing. So I'll continue like this. Okay, so a little of it is what you pick, and don't forget that any material you are sewing, that must be the color of your thread, and that should also be the color of your bias. So if at all your thread is showing behind, it will even show, because it would have blended with your material. So whatever you are sewing, please don't be like Taylor Laurent, London Taylor, that will use yellow thread to make blue clothes. No, so the color of your thread should be the color of your material. I'm doing this now so that you can be able to see it clearly. That's why I'm using different things now, so you can see what I'm doing clearly. So I'll leave a little space, take it behind, just a little behind my bias, pick a little again out of my clothes, bring it out of my bias, and drag. Can you see? Can you see it? It's as if it's entering inside a little bit. I can tack here and do it again, but this is not compulsory, but some tack it just to make it firm. Make sure the size of thread you are cutting is the one you can control. Can you see? So the next side, I'll leave a little space, about ½ an inch. Pick a little of my lining again and bring it out from my bias. I can continue like that without tacking too. Pick a little of my lining, bring it out from my bias. This lining is a very soft material, so it might not come out as good as I want it to. Pick a little of my lining, bring it out of my bias. Pick a little of my lining, bring it out of my bias. Pick a little of my lining, bring it out of my bias. Till you get to the end. So when you get to the end, you just tack it. So this is the hem. When I get to the end of it, I'll tack at this last part. I'll tack it. Okay, I'll tack it. So now for this type, can you see? It's just going to be showing dots, 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 dots like that for this side. While the sewing part will be showing sewing, this side is almost not going to show. If this is the same thread now, I'm not even going to see this white. So I'll just spray it with water and iron it. So these are the two ways you can turn your clothes with bias. If you are not doing lining, you are not doing full lining, you can use your bias to turn. And when you use your bias, you can use your machine to complete it, or you use your hemming to complete it. So now the second method of fixing zip. I want to loosen this zip now. I want to make use of my seam ripper. I'll just need to pick my thread. Can you see? Pick my thread When I pick the thread, I can drag it. I used to pick my thread out like that and drag, instead of using your blade so that you will not spoil your clothes. Pick my thread and drag, so I can start dragging like that. That's when I'm losing. So the second method of fixing zip is the one that we fold this part in. You can iron it. This is your 1 inch. You know, I joined this part that time, you see. So this one, we sew it from outside. Now my 1 inch that I need to fix, I will put it inside like this and iron it. I'll do the same thing to this side too, and I'll iron it so that it will be straight. So this is my zip that I want to fix. I'll put it under like this, under. So my 1 inch now that I've ironed, I'll place now, leaving a little space up, because this zip has a stopper, a small iron to stop it. So I'll make sure that that small iron is not where I'm starting. I'm starting like half an inch above my small iron. So this first one now, you know, I folded it in. Can you see the folding here? I folded my 1 inch in, so I will sew just beside my zip. Don't forget, whatever you are doing on industrial machines, what you do on manual machines too. I will sew just beside my zip. You know, this is the outer part of my clothes. Unlike the first one, we did it like the inner part. So I will sew just beside my zip. When you are doing that, see, open the under part of your zip up like this and centralize it. When I mean centralize, let the sewing and the center part of the zip be on the same level. So I'll sew. Can you see? So when I get to the end, I'll turn. This is my remaining part of my 1 inch for this side. Place it, making sure that it is covering up the zip here. Then I'll sew across my zip. And stop. And then I'll turn again. Please look at this. Can you see? I've sewn across my zip and I've stopped. So here is my remaining 1 inch. Can you see it that I folded in for my zip allowance? So to be on the safer side now, I can pin my remaining 1 inch. I can pin it so that it will end on the same level like this. So I can pin it. It's not compulsory, but just to be on the safer side, so that you will not have less amount up on one side and then the other side is now looking bigger. I'll pin it to my zip. This side to stop on the same level. So this one that is coming on this side now, make sure it's covering up this one that is on this side. So I'll now sew beside. This is my zip. Can you see this swollen part is my zip? So I'm sewing beside the zip. It's just that this is covering up the old one. This is covering up my zip. So I'll sew beside the zip. I can remove my zip now, my pin, to complete the sewing. Can you see? So this is the second method of fixing your zip. Can you see it's covering? So you can use this for your skirts. You can use it for your skirt. So when I open my zip, open and close my zip. So this is it. Good. You should try this. Don't expect to get it immediately, and if you get it immediately, good too, but don't expect to be perfect immediately. But I hope you will be able to try this. Can you see? This is my zip. So I've just sewn beside the zip, so this is my excess covering it up. Can you see that? So I'll be expecting your feedbacks and your practice. For this remaining part of your zip, you can cut it off. If you are using a small zip, you don't need to cut, but if you are using a long zip like this, you can cut it off. I'll be expecting your practice. Please send in your questions to me and enjoy yourself. Okay, so another thing I want to put you to is the type of lining. You have China lining. This is called China lining. It comes in a yard, but the 1 yard is supposed to be 36 inches, but for China lining 1 yard is always 29 inches. And as you can see, it's quite transparent and soft, but not slippery. It's not slippery. So this is China lining, the ordinary one, ordinary China lining. This is Aba lining. Aba is the slippery one, a bit thicker than the China, but it's slippery. So I don't usually advise someone that is just learning to make use of Aba line. I would rather prefer that you make use of the China that can stand firm. When you mold it, like when you fold it, it will stand where you're asking it to stand. But for this, when you mold it, it really might be slippery. This is Aba lining. Then you have the original China. They also call it spider. This is cotton lining, very thick. It's also China, but it is a thicker one. And it's the original one. This one is 100 naira, we are buying in bulk. This one is 130, we are buying in bulk. Why this is 300 per yard? 300 per, because it's original cotton lining. Then this is chiffon, not lining though. Some people use it to sew tops. This is chiffon, thicker and quite slippery. Can you see? Then you have bridal or doll face. Can you see? Doll face has two parts. This is the back part and this is it. Shining but not shining like that. So they call it doll face bridal. It is thicker. Some people also use it to line their lace material. You have tappeta, mirror tappeta. Can you see? Glittering and shining too. And you have the ordinary tappeta. It's not as shining as this. This is the ordinary tappeta. This is the mirror tappeta. You have your art stay, gum stay. They call it gum stay. If you want something to probably look very hard, you make use of your art stay or gum stay. Then you have your hair stay. Can you see? This is like clothes. There are two types, but this is the good one. The other one is cheaper. This is 100 naira per yard. The hat stay is 100 naira per yard for the hair stay. Then you have your wording for the chest of your bust cup sizes for clothes, or your bust area for your clothes. You have this called wording. This wording has like 3 or 4 sizes thickness, but I use the soft one so that the breast part of my clothes will not be looking too hard, as if I'm putting stick inside. So I use this soft one, and you can see it's having the shiny part and the dull part. They sell this I think for 400 per year. So these are the major things. Then you have net too. This is net too. So for net now, you are going to need this when you are making your baby ball dress. You need this. You need this. So they sell this for 200 per yard. They sell this for 200 per yard. So for your baby ball dress, you can actually buy as much as between 5 and 10 yards. You need between 5 and 10 yards. Then there is something called ad net. This is ad net. Can you see? Ad net. In the market, they equally sell this for like 300 per yard. For like 300 per yard. You need it for your ball dress too. This is called ad net. Can you see it? So that's all. If there's any other thing I've not talked about, I'll try and talk about it. And then don't forget your brown paper. Your brown paper is something like this. That's your brown paper. So see you in the next class. Thank you.